In this video, I'm going to explain how job referrals work at a company when you are applying for a position. Then I'm going to answer some commonly asked questions about referrals, and then I'm going to explain how you can maximize your referrals so that you can get more interviews and more job offers this year. If you are applying for a job, getting a referral from someone at the company will definitely increase your chances of getting your resume in front of a recruiter or a hiring manager. But what is a job referral and how does it typically work? Well, basically, if you know somebody who works at a company that you want to work at, you would reach out to them and ask them if they can refer you as a strong candidate for one of their positions. Typically, you have to choose a specific job rec or job posting that you want to be considered for. Then, on the back end, most companies have some type of referral process or referral form that the employee who knows you will need to fill out. Usually, this referral form will ask them to talk about what it's like to work with you or what it's like when you were in school together. Basically, they are going to be asked to rate you as a candidate and they should be talking about why they think you should be hired at their company. Then typically you would be asked for your copy of your resume, which then will be passed along to the recruiting team. Usually you don't talk to anybody until they have confirmed you are a good fit and they have headcount for you to be talking to a recruiter. Just because you get a referral or your friend refers you at that company, it doesn't mean you always get to talk to a recruiter because they may not have the headcount or it turns out you may not be qualified for the role that you think you are interested in. Then if your background does match one of the roles, that's when the recruiter will usually reach out to you and schedule a call, or the hiring manager may want to speak with you right away. Sometimes a referral does allow you to skip 1 or 2 rounds of interviews, which is a really great benefit. But keep in mind, you are still going to be evaluated and compared to other candidates who also may have referrals or don't have referrals. So you're still going to want to make sure that your interviewing skills are on par and ready to go. And if you want free interview tips, make sure you check out our playlist right up here. So now that you know what a job referral is and how it works, I want to answer some commonly asked questions that I get about it all the time. Now the first question is, do I need to put that I have a referral on my resume? And the answer is no. Generally, a referral is something that happens in their ATS system or is done on the back end. You don't need to write anything about it or modify your resume just because you have a referral. Another question that I get is, how recent does your referral have to be? Sometimes it may be out of your control where someone that you worked with 5 years ago is the only person working at that company, and in that case that's totally fine. But if you do have a choice, try to pick someone who has worked with you most recently because then they can give the most accurate picture of your current skill set, your current scope of work, and your current impact and level. Does a job referral guarantee a job offer? Now, of course, the answer is no, but it does give you certain advantages where you may be able to interview for a job that you may not quite fit 100% of the job description for because your referral or your friend at the company can vouch for you or can explain how your untraditional experience may be still a perfect match for what they are looking for in their role. Now, a referral may also give you a leg up and make up for maybe a potentially bad interview that you may have had. Because if your referral or your friend can talk about how good you are as an employee or why you were such a strong performer at your company together, they may be willing to cut you some slack if your interview skills aren't quite there or if you may have bombed one interview. But it is not enough to save you if you unfortunately bombed all of your interviews. So while a job referral may not guarantee you a job offer, it usually does guarantee you at least a view from a recruiter or hiring manager on your resume. Because sometimes if you apply online for a job, like through LinkedIn or Indeed or Monster or something like that, if you don't have a referral, there is a chance that they may not even get to see your resume or your application because they have so many. But companies will always prioritize folks who have referrals. Another common question is, if I have multiple contacts at a company, who should I be asking to refer me? Should I ask all of them or should I just ask one of them? My recommendation is that you need to be asking the person who has worked with you the closest, either as your manager or as one of your direct teammates, because they will be able to give the best version of your skill set and your experience. Now, you also want to make sure that the person that you pick to refer you thinks very positively and highly of you. So make sure that the person who's referring you will be rating you very, very good and can explain explain exactly why they think you should be hired at their company. And the last common question I get is that, does getting more referrals increase my chances of getting a job offer? And the answer is, it depends. If you get multiple positive referrals from people who have worked directly with you and can talk about your work product, then it will most likely increase your chances of getting a job offer. But if you have a lot of referrals and some of them have worked with you, some of them have not worked with you, some of them are random people on LinkedIn, then it doesn't necessarily increase your chances. You need to recognize that not all job referrals or employee referrals are created equal, because the folks who can actually talk about what it's like to work with you are obviously going to have the biggest amount of weight and sway in a particular hiring decision. So now that you know the commonly asked questions about job referrals, how can you maximize your job referrals so that you can be increasing your chances of getting a job offer or passing more interviews? You need to be thinking about maintaining relationships with previous coworkers who have left your company and gone to other places. You need to be maintaining relationships with your former managers, especially those who loved working with you. You need to be thinking about your network constantly, all the time. You need to be making sure that everybody who can vouch for your work and thinks positively about you is someone that you constantly keep in touch with, because they are going to be the most valuable people that will help you maximize your job referrals. Next, don't just ask someone, hey, can you refer me at your company? There's a really cool position that I want to apply for. You need to also ask them to take a look at your resume. You also should be asking them for feedback about the job and your experience. You should ask them, hey, do you think I'm actually qualified for this role? Or you should be asking them, okay, you got a job here, so tell me, what did you do on your resume, or how did you prepare for these interviews, so that you can also follow their success. Usually, if they're happy to refer you, then they are going to be getting some type of referral bonus or payment if you get hired. So they're probably going to be willing to go out of their way to prep you for interviews, to review your resume, to give you all these insider tips and tricks so that you can also be successful. When you do get a referral, especially if they work in the same job function or even the same role that you want, you should be asking them what were the specific interview questions that they had when they were interviewing as well. And then make sure you practice those and get your answers down perfectly. You can even ask them to do a practice or mock interview with you, because there is no one who is better at giving feedback than somebody who was already successful in getting hired in the exact position that you want. Now, another pro tip is that you should be asking the people who are referring you if they have done interviews for their company or for their job or for their team. You need to ask them what the interview process is like. What kind of questions do they like to ask? How do they evaluate and think about what's a good answer for a specific interview question? Now, this next tip is a small, minor adjustment, but actually makes a huge difference when you are applying and getting these job referrals. And that is that you should be asking your friends at these companies to directly pass along your resume to the hiring manager. But you should only be doing this after you've asked them for feedback on your resume. Make sure that your friend agrees that the job you are applying for is a perfect match for what you want. Remember, your friend's reputation at this company is also at stake here. So don't just ask them to pass along your resume to the hiring manager if you haven't confirmed that it is the right role for you and that your resume is in a really good shape. Now, my last tip to maximize your referrals so you get more job offers and more job interviews is that you need to be asking your referrals for more referrals. If you are able to make a good connection with somebody, or if someone that you've worked with is willing to provide you a job referral at their company, you need to be asking them if there are other friends that they have who are hiring, or if there are other companies that they recommend you should be looking at working for, and if they have any contacts there. This is the easiest way to expand your network with the least amount of effort and time. Don't just focus on the short term, which is getting this specific job at their specific company. Instead, thinking about the long term, growing your network in a really easy and successful way, and then leveraging your connections to get more connections and more job opportunities. Alright, hopefully you found this video to be helpful in demystifying the referral process, answering some common questions, and learning how to maximize these referrals and use it best to your advantage. If you want more career tips just like this, make sure you click subscribe to the channel below, and I will see you in the next video.